What Would Napoleon Hill Do? By Bill Hartley and Ann Hartley. Picture a man who's hit absolute rock bottom. We're talking sleeping on the streets, given up on life, kind of low. He's standing by Lake Michigan, seriously contemplating whether he should just end it all right there. The city feels cold and indifferent. Hope seems like a foreign concept, and he's convinced that the entire universe has given up on him. Then, in that dark moment, his fingers brush against something in his pocket. It's a small book about self-confidence. He starts reading, and somehow those words give him just enough strength to make it through one more night. The next morning, he tracks down the author's office and shows up looking like death warmed over, unshaven, hollow-eyed, completely defeated. He pours out his story to Napoleon Hill, lost everything, business gone, family gone, hope gone. When he finishes, he looks up desperately and asks, "What can you do for a man like me?" Hill listens carefully, then delivers what seems like the final blow. "I've listened to your story, and I wish I could help you, but there is absolutely nothing I can do." You can imagine the man's face. His last thread of hope just snapped. But then Hill leans forward after a long pause. "While there's nothing I can do for you," he continues, "there is someone in this building who can help you regain everything you've lost and put you back on your feet." The man practically leaps out of his chair, grabbing Hill's hands. "For God's sake, take me to him!" Hill leads him down a hallway and stops at a tall curtain. He pulls it back to reveal a large, ornate mirror. Pointing at the reflection, Hill says, "There's the man I promised to introduce you to. He's the only person in this world who can put you back on your feet. Until you truly get to know this man, you'll be worthless to yourself and everyone else." The man steps forward. He stares at his own reflection, studying himself from head to toe. Then something shifts. He begins to weep. So what happened to that man? What did he discover in that mirror? That's the heart of what we're diving into today. The book we're exploring is called What Would Napoleon Hill Do? Edited by Bill Hartley and Ann Hartley. But here's the thing. This isn't just one book. It's a distillation of the most powerful, practical wisdom from two of the most influential success books ever written. Napoleon Hill's 1928 masterwork, Law of Success, and the legendary Think and Grow Rich, which has created more millionaires than perhaps any other book in history. For nearly 3 decades, Napoleon Hill devoted his life to answering one enormous question posed by Andrew Carnegie, the richest man of his era. What universal principles separate the wildly successful from everyone else? Hill interviewed over 500 of the world's greatest achievers, titans like Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, and 3 U.S. presidents, to uncover a secret. A secret so simple yet so profound that it governs all success. By the end of our journey today, you'll understand the 17 principles of success that Hill discovered, and you'll hold the master key that unlocks them all. You'll understand the invisible force shaping your destiny, and you'll learn how to command it. So let's begin and discover what Napoleon Hill would do. Our story doesn't start with a principle, it starts with a promise. A young journalist named Napoleon Hill gets sent to interview Andrew Carnegie, the steel magnate and one of the wealthiest humans to ever walk the earth. What's supposed to be a 3-hour interview turns into a 3-day marathon conversation. At the end, Carnegie looks at the ambitious young Hill and makes him an offer that would change everything. Carnegie said something like, "It's a shame that each generation has to figure out success through trial and error when the principles are actually pretty clear-cut." He believed there was a formula, a real secret to achievement, and he wanted someone to spend 20 years researching and organizing this philosophy for ordinary people. He offered to open his Rolodex of the most powerful people in America. But Hill would have to do this massive undertaking without pay. Carnegie gave him 60 seconds to decide. Hill said yes in 29 seconds. That launched a quest that led to 16 powerful principles of personal achievement. Things like having a definite chief aim, developing self-confidence, and harnessing the power of the mastermind. These became the foundation of his legendary books, Law of Success and Think and Grow Rich. But here's where it gets interesting. Years after Think and Grow Rich became a bestseller, something strange happened. Readers started writing to Hill, pointing out that he'd missed something. They saw another principle woven through the entire book, a hidden thread connecting everything. Puzzled, Hill went back and reread his own work. And there it was, hiding in plain sight. The key that had eluded him for almost 30 years. The 17th principle. The one that explained why the other 16 actually worked. He called it cosmic habit force. Now, I know cosmic habit force sounds a bit woo-woo. But stick with me, because this is the bedrock of everything. It's not magic. It's as reliable as gravity. Cosmic habit force is the idea that everything in the universe has a natural habit. An acorn always grows into an oak tree, never a pineapple. That's its natural habit. Water always flows downhill. Magnets always have north and south poles. These are laws of nature. Well, the human mind has a natural habit too. And here it is. The human mind naturally tries to transform any dominant thought or desire into its physical counterpart. Let that sink in. Whatever you hold in your mind, whatever you consistently focus on, your mind will instinctively start working to make it real. It's the mind's natural habit to solve problems and make things happen. Here's where we get our unique power. Unlike the acorn or the magnet, we can choose our thoughts. We can control what our mind focuses on. And because we can control our thoughts, we can control our habits of thought. If you repeatedly and intentionally think about success, achieving your goals, becoming the person you want to be, then cosmic habit force takes over. Those positive, constructive thoughts become your new natural habit. Your mind, by its very nature, will then do everything possible to make those thoughts come true. This isn't wishful thinking. This is the fundamental law that makes everything else possible. So if cosmic habit force is the why, the next question is how. How do we harness this power? It starts with the first principle you must master, having a definite chief aim. So many people drift through life without direction. They have vague wishes like, I want to be happy, or I want more money. But these aren't aims, they're daydreams. A definite chief aim is different. It's specific, clear, and it burns inside you. Think of a ship that's lost its rudder. It might have enough fuel to cross the ocean and back, but without direction it just circles endlessly until it runs out of gas. A person without a definite chief aim is that rudderless ship. Your energy gets scattered, your thoughts wander, and you go nowhere. Now picture a magnifying glass on a sunny day. Sunlight can shine on a wooden plank for 1,000,000 years without doing anything. But take that magnifying glass, which represents your definite chief aim, and focus those rays on one spot, and they'll burn right through the wood. That's the power of organized, concentrated effort. Your definite chief aim is the magnifying glass for your mind. Napoleon Hill loved telling the story of Edwin C. Barnes. This guy had one all-consuming obsession. He wanted to become Thomas Edison's business partner. Not work for him. Partner with him. This wasn't a wish. It was a burning, definite desire. Barnes had no money, didn't know Edison, had no scientific training. He looked like a tramp, by his own admission. But he hopped on a freight train and rode it to West Orange, New Jersey. He walked into Edison's office and announced his intention, not to get a job, but to become Edison's partner. Edison was impressed enough by the sheer audacity to give him a menial job sweeping floors. But Barnes never lost sight of his aim. He swept those floors, but in his mind, he was already Edison's partner. He was just waiting for his moment. That moment came when Edison invented a new dictating machine. His salesmen weren't enthusiastic. They didn't think it would sell, but Barnes saw his opportunity. He told Edison he could sell it, and boy did he. He sold it so successfully that Edison gave him a contract to market and distribute it nationwide. Through that partnership, Barnes made a fortune. The sign over his office read, "Made by Edison and installed by Barnes." Edwin C. Barnes succeeded because he chose a definite goal and threw all his energy behind it. He burned all his bridges. There was no plan B. It was win or perish. That's the power of a definite chief aim. It becomes your organizing principle. Every decision gets measured against it. Will this move me closer to my aim or further away? But just having a goal isn't enough. You can write down a goal, but if you don't truly believe you can achieve it, it stays just words on paper. This brings us to faith and self-confidence. Hill says whatever the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve. The conceive part is your definite chief aim. The believe part is faith. Faith, as Hill describes it, isn't religious faith. It's faith in yourself, the unquestioning belief in your ability to accomplish what you set out to do. But what if you don't have that belief? What if you're full of doubt and fear? Here's Hill's revolutionary answer. You can create faith. You can develop it like a muscle. And the tool you use is called autosuggestion. Autosuggestion is self-suggestion, the process of repeatedly giving instructions to your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind is like a fertile garden. If you don't plant desirable crops, weeds will grow everywhere. Your subconscious doesn't judge. It can't tell the difference between right and wrong, positive or negative, or even true and false. It accepts whatever you plant in it. Here's the secret. The subconscious mind cannot tell the difference between what's real and what's vividly imagined. If you repeatedly tell yourself something with real emotion, your subconscious will eventually accept it as reality. There's a famous study with basketball players split into 3 groups. The first practiced free throws every day for a month. The second didn't practice at all. The third was told not to touch a basketball but to spend practice time vividly visualizing themselves shooting perfect free throws. The results? The no practice group got worse. The daily practice group improved significantly. But the visualization-only group improved almost as much as the physical practice group. Their minds had created the neural pathways for success just by imagining it. This is how you build faith. You use autosuggestion to convince yourself that you're capable of achieving your desire. You don't say, "I hope I can do this." You declare, in present tense, as if it's already happening, "I am achieving my goal. I am confident. I am successful." But here's the key most people miss. Plain, emotionless words don't influence the subconscious. You must mix your words with emotion. Faith is an emotion. Your thoughts must be emotionalized. They need feeling. Emotions give your thoughts vitality, life, and action. Think about what truly motivates you. Hill identified 9 basic motives: self-preservation, financial gain, love, sex, desire for power and fame, fear, revenge, freedom, and the desire to create. Find the emotion connected to your definite chief aim and pour it into your affirmations. Feel the passion. Feel the certainty. This is what that man in our opening story discovered in the mirror. He didn't just see a reflection. He was forced to confront the only person who could truly save him. In that moment, he had to choose: believe in that man or give up. He chose to believe, and that belief transformed him. Just days later, the same homeless man walked into an office and landed a good-paying job. His transformation was so complete that Hill barely recognized him. He had changed his dominating thoughts, and his reality followed. This brings us to the practical tools for programming your mind: concentration, affirmation, and visualization. These are your autosuggestion techniques. Concentration is focusing your mind on your definite chief aim until ways and means for its realization emerge. It's about building new mental pathways. When you first form a new thought habit, it's like walking through a dense forest, difficult. But each time you travel that path, it gets clearer and wider. Eventually, it becomes the easiest path to take. Affirmation is the verbal tool. It's a short, positive statement that captures your desire. You repeat it over and over, out loud if possible, with feeling and emotion. Andrew Carnegie gave young Napoleon Hill a powerful affirmation. He told him to stand in front of his mirror every morning and declare, "Andrew Carnegie, I'm not only going to equal your achievements in life, but I'm going to challenge you at the post and pass you at the grandstand." At first, Hill felt ridiculous, but eventually he began to believe it, and that belief shaped his entire life. Visualization is the mental tool. You close your eyes and see yourself having already achieved your goal. You don't just see it, you feel it. You see the money in your account. You see yourself in your dream home. You feel the confidence and pride of accomplishment. You make the mental image so vivid that your subconscious accepts it as reality. Remember, visualizing your desire doesn't magically make a car appear in your driveway. What it does is create the attitudes, ideas, and plans within your mind. It programs your subconscious to notice opportunities you'd otherwise miss. It gives you the how. It prompts you to take actions that will, in the real world, lead you to earn that car. These inner tools, a definite chief aim, faith, and autosuggestion, are the foundation. But success isn't just an internal game. You must bring that inner state into the outer world through your actions and relationships. This is where the next set of principles comes in. First is enthusiasm. Enthusiasm is to a person what steam is to a locomotive, the vital force that drives action, and it's contagious. When you're truly enthusiastic about what you're doing, that feeling radiates from you. People feel it, are drawn to it, want to be part of it. You can cultivate enthusiasm by working on something you love, but even if you're not in your dream job right now, you can generate enthusiasm by focusing on your definite chief aim, the future you're building. This creates what Hill called success consciousness. A person with success consciousness sees the glass as half full, not half empty. They see every failure not as defeat, but as a lesson, a seed of equivalent or greater success. They expect success, prepare for it, and because of the law of attraction, they find it. But enthusiasm without direction can be destructive, like lightning without a lightning rod. It must be balanced by self-control. Self-control is thought control, the ability to direct your thoughts, choose what you focus on, and shield your mind from negative influences like fear, doubt, and other people's opinions. The world is drowning in opinions. They're the cheapest commodity on earth. A person with self-control listens to facts, but reaches their own conclusions. They learn to keep their mouth closed and their ears and eyes open. They follow Hill's motto, "Tell the world what you intend to do, but first, show it." Next comes a principle that seems almost backward in a world that encourages doing the bare minimum. Hill called it doing more than paid for. People who never do more than they're paid for never get paid for more than they do. This isn't just about pleasing your boss. It's about tapping into the law of increasing returns. A farmer plants one seed of wheat but harvests 100-fold. When you willingly do more than you're paid for, you're sowing seeds of goodwill and opportunity. You make yourself so valuable that you create competition for your services. You put your employer in your debt. Think about Carol Downs, who worked for W.C. Durant, head of General Motors. Downs noticed Durant stayed late every night after everyone else left. So Downs stayed late too. Nobody asked him to. Nobody paid him to. He just made himself available. Soon Durant got in the habit of calling on him for small tasks. That habit led to more responsibility, and eventually Downs became Durant's right-hand man and president of one of his companies. He put himself in the path of opportunity. This leads to one of the most powerful principles, the Mastermind Alliance. Hill defined the mastermind as the coordination of knowledge and effort in a spirit of harmony between two or more people for the attainment of a definite purpose. No individual has enough experience, education, and ability to ensure great success without cooperation from others. But a mastermind is more than teamwork. When two or more minds come together in perfect harmony, a third, invisible mind is created. The group's energy becomes greater than the sum of its parts. This third mind can tap into what Hill called infinite intelligence, the universal storehouse of all knowledge, and produce insights no single member could create alone. Andrew Carnegie attributed his entire fortune to his Mastermind Alliance, about 50 people who worked with him in perfect harmony. Henry Ford had his own mastermind with Thomas Edison, Harvey Firestone, and Luther Burbank. Through this alliance, each man amplified his own brain power. When you form a mastermind, you surround yourself with people who share your vision and lend you their knowledge, experience, and influence as if it were your own. This requires another crucial principle: cooperation. To build a successful enterprise or achieve any great goal, you must get others to cooperate with you. Napoleon Hill demonstrated this brilliantly when he visited the small town of Lumberport, West Virginia. The town had been trying for 10 years to get a trolley line extended across a river, but the $100,000 bridge cost was too high for the traction company. Hill, an outsider, looked at the problem with fresh eyes. He realized 3 parties would benefit: the traction company, the county with its rickety old bridge, and the railroad whose tracks the old road crossed, causing delays and safety issues. By taking the initiative and showing leadership, Hill got all 3 parties to cooperate, and each pay 1/3 of the cost. Within months, the bridge was built and streetcars were running. He succeeded where others had failed for a decade because he understood how to organize cooperative efforts. Of course, no journey to success is a straight line. It's filled with setbacks and disappointments. That's why one of Hill's most profound principles is profiting by failure. Hill made a crucial distinction. There's a difference between temporary defeat and failure. You only truly fail when you quit. Every adversity, every heartbreak, carries the seed of equivalent or greater benefit. One of Hill's most famous stories was about R.U. Darby, whose uncle caught gold fever. They went west, staked a claim, and found a rich vein of gold ore. They brought in machinery and mined the first carload, proving they had one of the richest mines in Colorado. They were on the verge of massive fortune. Then the vein disappeared. They'd hit a fault line. They drilled desperately trying to find it again, but found nothing. Finally, they gave up. They sold their machinery to a junkman for a few $100s and went home defeated. The junkman, before digging, called in a mining engineer. The engineer calculated that the original vein would be found just 3 feet from where the Darbys had stopped drilling. The junkman took millions of dollars from that mine. Darby learned a lesson he never forgot. He became a wildly successful life insurance salesman, saying, quote, "I stopped 3 feet from gold, but I'll never again stop because people say no when I ask them to buy insurance." He learned that his greatest success came just one step beyond where defeat had overtaken him. Hill himself experienced 7 major failures: losing businesses, being arrested on false charges, having his magazine stolen, even fleeing for his life from gangsters. But each time, what looked like failure was just an unseen hand redirecting him to a better path, ultimately leading him to discover his true calling. This brings us to 2 final, perhaps most philosophical principles that tie everything together: tolerance and the golden rule. Tolerance is the cornerstone of sound character. Intolerance, Hill argued, is a form of ignorance. It closes your mind and builds walls. Hill told a personal story of meeting a young man he instantly admired, until he saw a Knights of Columbus pin on his vest. Hill, a Freemason, felt immediate involuntary prejudice and pulled his hand away. The incident shocked him and forced him to analyze the source of his intolerance, which he traced back to his early training. He realized most of our deepest beliefs about religion, politics, and race aren't our own. They were given to us before we could think for ourselves. A truly successful person develops a mind open to all people and all ideas, judging them on merit, not prejudice. Finally, we arrive at the principle governing them all, the golden rule: do unto others as you would have them do unto you. For thousands of years, this has been preached as ethical conduct. But Hill saw it as something more, a law of the universe, directly connected to cosmic habit force. When you understand that every thought you release is a seed planted in your own subconscious, you realize that whatever you do to others, you're first doing to yourself. You can't have a hateful thought toward another without first poisoning your own mind with hatred. You can't perform an act of kindness without first cultivating kindness within yourself. Every thought and act is a cause setting an effect in motion. The character you build, the people you attract, and the circumstances you encounter all reflect the thoughts you hold and actions you take. The golden rule isn't just a nice idea. It's the most practical, selfishly unselfish philosophy for success. By treating others with fairness, justice, and kindness, you're building a positive, dynamic character that, through the law of attraction, will inevitably draw success to you. This was the journey of Napoleon Hill's son, Blair. Born without any physical sign of ears, doctors said he'd be deaf and mute for life. But Hill refused to accept it. He made it his definite chief aim that his son would hear and speak. He held a burning desire, mixed it with faith, and began planting that desire in his son's mind through bedtime stories. He told Blair that his affliction wasn't a liability but a great asset. As a boy, Blair discovered he could hear music by clamping his teeth on the edge of a Victrola, feeling vibrations through his jawbones. This was the opening Hill needed. He spoke to his son with his lips pressed against the boy's skull, transferring sound directly to his brain. Slowly, Blair's hearing improved. He learned to speak. He refused to go to a school for the deaf, determined to live normally. Years later in college, Blair tried a new electrical hearing aid. For the first time in his life, he heard as clearly as any normal person. Overjoyed, he wrote to the manufacturer. The company was so impressed, they invited him to New York. While touring their factory, an idea flashed in his mind. He realized he could use his unique experience to help millions of other hard-of-hearing people. He created a 2-year marketing plan. The company gave him a job, and he dedicated his life to that purpose, turning his greatest handicap into his greatest asset. A burning desire, backed by faith, had outwitted Mother Nature. So what do we take away from this incredible philosophy? After journeying through these 17 principles, it's easy to feel a little overwhelmed. But if you strip it all down, it comes back to one powerful truth Napoleon Hill discovered and shared with the world. You are the master of your destiny. The tools you need aren't outside you. They're not in your bank account, your connections, or your circumstances. They're within your own mind. The entire philosophy rests on the bedrock idea that your thoughts create your reality. Not through mystical magic, but through clear, logical cause and effect. Your thoughts determine your definite chief aim. Your thoughts, mixed with emotion, create the faith that you can achieve it. Your thoughts, disciplined through autosuggestion, program your subconscious to work for you day and night. Your thoughts, expressed through enthusiasm and a pleasing personality, attract others, cooperation. Your thoughts, organized through a mastermind, create power greater than yourself. And your thoughts about failure determine whether you see a stumbling block or a stepping stone. The story of Hill's son Blair is perhaps the most powerful testament to this truth. It wasn't a machine that gave him hearing. It was a desire. A desire so powerful, so persistent, so filled with faith, that it literally reshaped his world. It's a profound reminder that our perceived limitations are often just stories we tell ourselves, and we have the power to write a new story. So how can you apply this today? It doesn't require a grand overnight change. Start with one simple thing. First, define what you truly want. Take some quiet time and ask yourself, what is my definite chief aim right now? It doesn't have to be for the rest of your life. Maybe it's for this year or this month, but make it clear, specific, and write it down. Second, practice autosuggestion. Read that statement aloud every morning when you wake up and every night before sleep. As you read it, don't just say the words. Feel the emotion. Visualize yourself having already achieved it. Convince your subconscious that this is your new reality. And third, go the extra mile. Today, find one opportunity to do more than you're paid for, or render a small service to someone without expecting anything back. This simple act shifts your mindset from scarcity to abundance and puts the powerful law of increasing returns to work for you. That was a summary of What Would Napoleon Hill Do, which brings together the core wisdom of Napoleon Hill's life's work. We've explored the highlights today, but I'll be honest, a summary can only guide you to the door. The real transformation happens when you step through it yourself by reading the books. It's in those quiet moments when a particular story or simple phrase connects with you in unexpected ways. This summary is a map designed to show you if this journey is one you want to take. If anything we've talked about today has sparked something inside you, I encourage you to grab a copy of Think and Grow Rich or Law of Success. Reading them isn't just about learning. It's an experience that can genuinely change how you see yourself and the world. A link to the book is in the description below. Also, if you found this summary valuable, please show your support by hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel. That way, you won't miss our next journey into another life-changing book on the billionaire's bookshelf. Let's keep growing together.